What is up, Pope Nation? Welcome to a brand new retro review. We're talking the original Thor film in the MCU, one of the first films to kick off this awesome cinematic universe. And the reason we're doing this is because if you guys didn't know, a small little film, Thor Ragnarok, is coming out this week in the States, and man, am I so excited for that film. Thor is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and also in one of the comics. When I used to read him, I was so intrigued with his universe. But that's where we got this film, Thor. And I've only seen this film once, surprisingly, and I finally get to watch it. I didn't get to see it in theaters. I bought it on DVD, watched it, and I enjoyed it. But it's never been one of my favorites, and getting to rewatch it finally, I'm pretty excited to talk about this because honestly, my opinion has changed very much on this film. Kenneth Branagh directed this film. Kenneth Branagh is a fantastic actor and director, which made me just more excited to see this film because now I've seen more of Kenneth Branagh's stuff, and really, Thor, for me, the original Thor film, is one of the best in the MCU, and I really mean that. I mean it in a ton of ways. There are some cons to it, which I will get to in a second, but I want to talk about my pros. And of course, Chris Hemsworth is the star of this. He's fantastic as Thor. We have to talk about Tom Hiddleston. I mean, him as Loki, he's just perfection to the point as Loki. You have Anthony Hopkins as Odin. You have Natalie Portman in here, which we'll get to in a second. She's kind of in my cons. I do like Jane Foster's character in general. I just never don't like the romance aspect of Thor, I guess. For me, Thor is that one character that's always been hard to sell to people, and it's because he's this mythology. He's a god. And nowadays, you know, it's easier to sell, but at the time, I'm sure it was hard. And this film has a hard particular thing because you have to set up an origin story for a character that, I don't know, it's different. It's very different. He's not Iron Man. He's not Captain America. He's different, per se. And I think this was the groundwork down for Guardians of the Galaxy, which was totally out there. But my thing about Thor is that, of course, this story is pretty much his origin story. It's when he falls from this mighty god, and he has to gain his way back up because his father takes away all of his powers, rips him away, throws him onto Earth, and tells him, learn, you are to walk with them. And it's an interesting concept, which I really like. And for me, the first time I saw this film, I thought it was boring. I couldn't get into it. But now rewatching it, you know, I'm more into this story. I'm into the characters more, you know, and most of the humor works in here very well. You know, you see these little plants in here. You got Hawkeye showing up for a couple scenes. And really, overall, Loki as the villain is just awesome. And I also forgot to talk about Idris Elba's Heimdall. Come on, the dude is a total badass. Even though this first Thor film is really strong in the aspect of telling a story, but not needing to rely on the action. Because there is some great action sequences in here. Rewatching this, the CGI and everything holds up completely. Especially the last final battle, just absolutely awesome. And can we talk about Lady Sif for a second? That actress does not get enough credit. She deserves so much more because she is phenomenal, Lady Sif. She is a badass, and she deserves a lot more work in Hollywood. Same with all the little scoundrels that are with them. They're all awesome, and it makes me, literally Thor, you know what Thor makes me want to do? It makes me want to get a hammer. It makes me want to get some workout, get some buff-ass muscles, and just become my own mightiest god because Thor is awesome. I really had a blast talking about the original Thor film. I'm enjoying my marathon so far going through the Thor films. I'm about to watch the second one, which, again, I've only seen the second one once, but, like I said, Thor 1 is totally worth a recheck out. If you guys kind of didn't like it your first time, maybe go check it out again. I think you guys might like it a bit more. And like I said, some of the humor works in here. Kat Dennings' character, sometimes her humor is placed in the wrong spots, and I think those could have been pitter-pattered, maybe taken out a bit. Some of the pacing could have been fixed a bit to make the structure a bit, but I really just like how the story was told. I think Kenneth Branagh did a great job directing this film and telling the story of a father and son, which was a great dynamic in here as well. And my last con, really, before I get into my score, is Natalie Portman. I've never believed in the relationship. That goes for any of the Thor films. I've just never really given a crap, but I do like Jane Foster's character. I think she's a very strong character in some senses. Does she pass all the tests of being one of the strong female heroic characters? No, but I think there was more development that you could have done for her character, but I don't think that romance aspect was needed in this first one, at least the first one. I mean, they can build up the tension, but I just think it was done wrong in that aspect. But most Marvel films do have a love interest in it, so I'm not going to totally flack it for that. But with all that said, I'm going to have to give the original Thor film a B+. Like I said, I had a ton of fun. Just a couple cons, but really rewatching this film made me really enjoy the Thor character more. And just seeing, like, knowing how Chris Hemsworth comes into this character later down the road within the Avengers films is just fantastic. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to like and subscribe, especially if you're new. I want to hear about you guys over on my channel. We always talk. I love these lively discussions we get in the comments all the time. So make sure to comment down below and tell me what your guys' thoughts on the original Thor film. And as always, stay classy and have a great rest of your day.